Blvd started this CompView main company a couple of years ago there on South Ector, and I just love this picture just because what he does, he tries to do every little thing that he can to enhance the overall appearance. I went in and visited with him, and his business continues to grow. He's doing twice the level of business today that he was doing 12 months ago. He's already outgrowing his space there. You can see not much progress has been made there at the Guruwara temple site there. There was a very, very productive meeting with engineering last week that they described what they would like to do in terms of modifying the approved drainage plans that were included when y'all considered their site plan. So now engineering will be waiting on their engineer to submit some stamped drawings that will verify that what they verbally represented can indeed work based on their proposed changes. Changing to 157 north of Dairy Queen, you can see that the drive approaches that the developer has received approval from TxDOT have now been completed. We're anticipating that fast food restaurant will be submitting a site plan later this summer associated with that area. And in getting an update from the developer, they've begun discussions with a new end user that would be located actually north of the Taco Bell that we've talked to you about before. Excuse me. Continue on 157, the former racetrack that will be rebranded as a icebox that they will be selling the Valero brand of gasoline. You can see if you've driven by the last 24 hours, they've begun work on the canopy itself to change out the panels rather to reflect the Valero identity. The Dominion, if you've driven by in the last week or so, they are installing the landscaping around the perimeter. We, of course, will verify that all of what's being done is consistent with the site plan that y'all have approved. It's kind of cool to be able to drive through the development and match what had been lines on a paper you can see are now real and have been completed on the site. The work on their amenity center as part of their initial phase is underway as well. And I believe there were 10 building permits that came in with residential plans for the Dominion just this morning. Switching to Harwood Road west of the Albertsons there on the north side, immediately adjacent to churches, the HEB Family Dentistry offices are well underway with their construction. Switching to Glade Parks, we are going to, we hope this will be a benefit to communicate the progress with that development. We'll update this map as new out parcels or any other particular area within the development. We'll keep this up to date and try to keep Mayor you well informed of the specific location of where we're talking about the projects within that development. The work associated with the Chaos-Manian project continues with the installation of the underground utilities. You might recall that part of the coordination that needs to occur will be between the master developer and Chaos-Manian associated with the perimeter fencing and the fencing that will be required around the gas pad site. When you see the installation of the perimeter fencing around the development, that will match the fencing that will be installed as part of the gas pad site. And all of that coordination that needs to take place we will continue to monitor that to make sure that that is happening. You can see clearly how Rio Grande has been cut in and the latest paving schedule, Mr. Craner, for that?
Still April. They're building the pad site for their concrete plant as we speak.
Absolutely. I should have mentioned on the Glade Parks Residential, their temporary batch plant request for a temporary use permit for the batch plant will be before y'all on April the 8th. We just got notice on Friday, I did not mention this to you, Mr. McCamey, that the developer on the Colleyville side, on the western side of Heritage, will be going before the Colleyville City Council for a temporary use permit for a batch plant associated with that first phase of the residential development there on the Colleyville side.
One point of clarification here. Mike said that they're going to be constructing the gas pad side. Just want to make sure that we did not talk about that in a while. I'll just remind you, there's not a producer there. It's part of their deal to buy the property required them to build that gas pad side, to have walls and whatnot, but there will be nothing in it. It's just a blank space for future gas development. Probably when gas prices are much higher than what they are right now. But I don't want you to, anybody in the room to think that, my gosh, we're just going to have a gas well drilled out there. That's not the case at all.
But they're going to be two batch plants on the property?
No, ma'am. One batch plant will be associated with the K-Hoffnanian project here in Euless, but across the street, and there could be some overlap, there'd be a batch plant associated with the Colleyville residential development that will be occurring on the west side of Heritage.
Well,
But we've approved one last week.
Okay,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's yet another for the Rio Grande project. Yes, ma'am.
There will be two on the site.
Yes, ma'am.
Park site, and then one across the street in Heritage.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Gotten several questions from people about what actually is going to be constructed there based on the amount of dirt and the depth of that hole. People are asking if that's going to be piers for some office tower. The explanation from Tom Wynn is that as a consequence of the drought, the soil conditions out there are really dry. So what they're doing is they're digging down to a depth of 9 feet and moving a whole bunch of dirt with an expectation that they're going to return a whole bunch of moisture to that dirt in order for the compaction associated with the foundation to pass and be secure for a long time. But they're having to dig much deeper and remove a whole bunch more dirt than they had originally anticipated. But again, it's all due to the consequences of the drought that we've been under for some period of time.
Questions on?
Mike, the property, the property adjacent, or the pavement adjacent to Taco Villa, will that wait until summer or to be paved, or will that be paved sooner?
That will be paved sooner as part of the mutual access drive between the properties.
Got a couple of building business closures. You lost Dave Buster's out there on Broad.
Oh, really?
And then Dots is closing at the Vineyard Village.
Yeah, they're in bankruptcy, they're closing one location.
Double day.
Double day.
Yeah, not the days.
We missed that one.
There's a Dave involved there.
Something happened a while ago.
Double Dave, sorry.
Yeah.
What was the other?
Dots at Vineyard Village.
That's kind of on one end. It's kind of long.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody talked to me.
We all caught you on that. Somewhat afraid to say it.
We're afraid. Wrong.
You don't say no.
I guess the other thing that we learned at Glade Parks the other day, we met with the developer, and one of those buildings, one of the major tenants was, which mattress company is it? Sleep Expert.
Sleep experts.
Yeah, be careful with the names here, and they have been bought out, and an existing mattress is unfirmed, so they won't be going in there, which will probably slow the progress of that building. Not the one with under construction here. lots of calls about what's going on next to Albertson. And there in churches, that's attracted a lot of attention. I think people are kind of disappointed. It's just a dentist office, but it's a nice dentist office.